recap of my sales for the week. This is the week of February 5th through the 11th. Sorry, I know I usually start off with kind of a recap of all the number of sales on each platform and my total kind of rough gross sales for the week, but I don't have that today. I'm kind of just running behind with everything, so I decided to just cut straight to the chase, and we're going to start with our sales on eBay. We're starting off with this Duluth Trading Company button shirt. I found a couple of these, and I thought they would sell a lot better than they have. So this one actually sold for, I believe, $25. Let me get that ready. Yeah, so it sold for about $25. That's probably the price point I should have them at. They're new with tags and they're extra large. And so I thought if I did 35, I'd get between 25 and 30. But so far, there's not even a whole lot of interest in them. And I think the $25 was either an offer we sent or an offer I got, or I sent a $30 offer and somebody countered at 25. I think it is what happened. Yep, so $25 plus shipping. Not too bad. I spent about $5 on it. Next one, oh, look what it is. So if you saw my video about the items I have in my shop that were not selling, this was one of them that we kind of reworked the listing. We dropped the price extremely from what my big hopes and dreams for this Swedish pottery vase would be. It sold for that asking price of $30. And probably if I had just kept it at, or put it at that price to begin with, it would have sold a long time ago. But I'm glad it's moved on to a new home and I didn't have to donate it or anything like that. Okay, this is a pair of Brooks women's shoes. I think Brooks, it's kind of bread and butter, but I think there's some that sell better than others. These actually did really good. They were size 6.5, and they were $50. They sold for $50, and actually that's better than a lot of the sneakers. Some of the sneakers we've picked up. Yeah, they went pretty quickly, so that's definitely, at least maybe it's the Ghost 12, that's the good thing. We just picked these up at our little local bins, and I think it was a day my husband ended up picking up a bunch of stuff, and so cost of goods was probably like $1 or less for those, and yeah, he had to clean them up, and I think he just washed them either in our dishwasher or washed them probably, if they even needed that much. I kind of lost track of which shoes were which that needed so much cleaning, but he might have just soaked the soles and just kind of cleaned those up a little bit. But a little bit of work, not a lot of cost of goods, and they sold for $50, like in a day or two. Here we are with our fun little grandpa sweaters. You can use grandpa core, dad sweater. Le Tigre is a brand I remember from the 80s as well. And here, I'll show you the tag. Just so fun, so 80s, made in the USA. And so the cardigan sweater, kind of popular. So this sold here. I'm thinking I had picked up another one and listed a kind of similar looking one, different brand, and that had already sold. And I was thinking they would go on like Poshmark or Depop or something like that, but they both sold on eBay, and that sold for $30. I think we sent out an offer that got accepted. Next one, I sold another one of my Ken Edwards plates that I had done the video on a little while back. They're selling kind of slowly, but that's okay. This one sold for $35 plus shipping, and the woman was very excited that she found the plate that filled her set or replaced a broken one or something like that. So she was super excited about that. And then here I've just gone ahead and included the Hawaiian shirts that had sold in that week, even though I've talked about them a couple times, right? So in my last video was the Hawaiian shirt bolo video, and this was of course included in that. So this sold for $70. If you haven't seen that, you'll see some of the Hawaiian shirts that I have here, but then we also talk about just different Hawaiian shirt brands or features to look for when you're out reselling for profit or thrifting to resell for profit. So that was a nice sale that kicked off my Hawaiian shirt sales. This was another one from that same haul. This one sold for $160. And yeah, all the information was in that last video. I have the what sold of the Hawaiian shirts right at the beginning of the Hawaiian shirt video. And then I have another video before that that talked about where I found them. That's that craziest place I thrift video. Then Jam's World. I love this brand. I love it so much. So this was the next Hawaiian shirt that sold out of that haul. And this one sold for $100. So again, lots more information in those two videos, mostly the Hawaiian shirt video as far as the what solds. Okay, so this was a no-name brand hooded jacket, full zip, kind of like a fleece, but it was wool. And actually it was fleece lined inside, and all it said was made in Nepal, 100% wool. This was a bins pickup, little outlet center pickup. We picked it up last year, and so it sat for a while in our eBay shop. I think, yeah, so it sold for $30. I think we had to drop the price, but we got positive feedback from the buyer, and they are super happy with it, that it is in exactly what they were looking for. So that's great. And here's another one of the shirts from the Hawaiian shirt haul, and the brand is called BC Ethic, and I'll show you that. It's La Rocca, London for BC Ethic. Okay. And okay, St. John's Bay. Now, this was such a nice shirt, and you know, resellers and YouTubers will tell you like forever, like we talk about the brand St. John, and that's that women's kind of high-end brand, and it's always like, don't confuse St. John with St. John's Bay, right? And so St. John's Bay is kind of like just, it's not a bolo brand. But I have sold a couple nice items by St. John's Bay around, you know, $30, $25. And then there's these vintage, some of these vintage flannels. Like this was so nice. And I just love the color of it. And it took a while to sell. And it sold for $40. And again, I got really good feedback. The person just like loves this shirt. And as I handed it to my husband for him to package up, I was like, oh, this shirt is so nice. I was about to just keep it and like wear it. So here's the tag. Big Mac flannel, St. John's Bay, made in the USA. So I had sold another vintage flannel by St. John's Bay. We sold a newer like chamois shirt. I might have been in a what sold a couple weeks ago, and that was new with tags, really good quality, and I think that was like $25-$30 as well. So, you know, I don't just say, hey, no St. John's Bay at all, but vintage and nice quality substantial pieces might be worth like a double check it. Okay, I loved this robe. This is a vintage 1950s men's robe, kind of smoking jacket looking with the satin lining and with the satin trim and everything. I had kind of shot high, but there was no belt with it. And we can go a little closer to see the pattern on it. And I mainly like bought it because I love the tag. The tag has nothing really to do with anything, but it just screams 1950s to me. And I just thought this robe was really cool, and that somebody could figure out what to do for a robe, or they could just be, you know, wearing it open and dragging around the house or something like that. Or they could, you know, get their own kind of black sash or rope or something like that that they could make work. I don't know. So, yeah, that's probably what someone's going to do, but you know, I couldn't have the higher asking price if I was asking people to do that. So I did end up taking a $45 offer. It had been listed for a while, and so when I got the $45 offer, I was like, yes, for sure, just take it, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have fun with it. So $45 is not really that bad. Okay, I wanted to include this one. It's not a huge sale, $13.49. Again, this was some weird eBay glitch where I ran a sale and then the price never changed back or something. And this was back listed when I was doing a little bit more with free shipping on lighter items. So I just left it all. I didn't really care because I just wanted the comb to be gone. So I'm only mentioning this because, you know, whatever the $6, $7 profit I got out of this, I had bought a bag of combs, like new old stock combs at a thrift store, and just to kind of take a chance, and they've all sold. This was the last one. And, you know, I made maybe $10 a piece on them, you know, and some sold a little bit better than others, but I just wanted to mention it because there actually are some combs that are bolos, and it would be kind of an interesting little video to do, like to try to figure out some of those things. But anyway, I know Avon, there's certain Avon combs and brushes that are serious bolos, and I kind of keep my eye out all the time for them. But yeah, let's maybe do a video on that, and, you know, maybe some other unexpected little things that we need to look for when we're out thrifting. I will file that thought away. Okay, Land's End. This is kind of hard to photograph, but they were just brown, kind of like a corduroy looking knit stretch pants. They were size 1X. And why do I have, oh, maybe it said it. 1X. I don't know why I say 16W, 18W. Why do I say that? 1X. Huh. You know what I bet happened? I bet I copied somebody's. I probably did a sell similar, and they had like maybe more than one or something like that. So that was a big boo-boo on my part. So hopefully the buyer is okay with the sizing, because they were definitely size 1X. So yeah, I missed that. But anyway, these just came from the bins again, and yeah, they sold for the full $20 asking price. So I haven't heard anything yet. We'll see what happens when they get it, if they haven't already gotten it. I'm not sure about that. Okay, and then the last sale, this was not $24.99. Where did it go? Oh, I know. They didn't pay right away, so here it is, $12. It was about half the price, and we were totally fine with that. It was just as is. There was problems with the brim. I think the cardboard was like broken or creased or something. And I picked this up at a yard sale last year, where I just kind of, they were basically just filling boxes for like a cheap amount of money, and so I didn't pay much for it. And I think we had one person interested in it once, and then they bought it or sent an offer or something, and then they said, oh wait, we didn't see the damage, and so then that sale got canceled. So this one, you know, we probably would have just, I don't know, moved it on, but we got a $12 offer, and they paid a few days later, so it is gone. All right, let's move on to Posh. So this is a, it's called, the brand was called Black Sheep. I'll show you the label. It's a very vintage looking label, and it was basically a hunting vest. And the reason I picked it up, it was like $1.50 or something at the thrift store. And I did pick it up because it was vintage, but when I did a quick look, I think this was the brand. Now I'm wondering if I'm getting my memories mixed up. But anyway, if I'm remembering correctly, there is a Black Sheep brand hunting vest that sells really, really well. And it turned out not to be this one. But I still got $25 for it. So if I'm remembering correctly, when I edit, I will pop up a comp of the hunting vest that is something to be on the lookout for. So I'm not complaining, $1.50 into $25 and, after fees or whatever is still a pretty good flip. Patagonia, I just kind of pick up any Patagonia hat. Some are worth more than others. This was a fairly common one, so I was happy to get the $20 for this. There are certain Patagonia hats with different, maybe a similar type of graphic, but on the front, and they can sell for a lot more. Some are vintage, some are just not as many made. Ones like this, there were so many made that they're just not going to be as valuable. The trout on the front, everybody uses the word Fitzroy, so I don't know if that's the trout's name, whatever. Anyway, so another hat sale. Athleta. These are just hiking shorts, women's hiking shorts, sold for $18. Paid a couple bucks. The Territory I had, it is one of my favorite men's brands to sell. This was vintage-ish, maybe more Y2K. I remember when I got it, it was super, super, it's like this super soft material, and I just thought the color blocking was interesting, but it sold for $23, nothing to write home about, but glad to move some things. Speaking of hats, this is I guess you could call it a trucker hat. It did have the mesh back and everything, and it had a logo for DeKalb, just a corn seed company. Now, if this one was not vintage, it was newer, and but a vintage one could possibly sell for much better prices. But this sold for $17, and it actually sold fairly quickly. It was nice looking hat, so I was glad that moved along pretty quick. And then this wallet, there's some things that when I get them, like I got this at the bins, and if I don't pay a lot, I look and I'm like, well, it's not worth a ton. I might not even list on eBay. I might just go ahead and list straight to Poshmark and just figure, that's where my buyer probably will be. And so this cute little floral wallet was by a designer, but just not, a high-end type thing. The quality didn't seem that great, but it was clean. So I just threw it on Posh and sold it for $17. This was interesting. This also came from the bins, and it wasn't a brand we knew or had any experience with or anything like that, but it just has that look of, like, it's almost the more simple and kind of cheap looking the label sometimes is an indicator. I know it's weird, but it's sometimes an indicator of a higher end designer. So Maria Stanley, I did find the name of the blazer. It's called the Nash blazer. I couldn't find this color to get the official name of the color, and I did have someone ask me what the color was, and I said I couldn't find any stock photos for it, so I couldn't figure that out. But it was like a tan kind of camel colored blazer, and they sent me a $75 offer, and I said, that is wonderful, I will take that. I think it was retailing for like $250 or something like that. The color wasn't available, but similar ones, the blazer itself might not have been available anymore, but when it was like 150 to 200, or I don't know, somewhere in there. So definitely, definitely worth picking up. This one I almost didn't list, and I'm not sharing it so that you would know to bolo it or anything. I mostly had picked it up because of the pattern, and the brand is nothing to write home about. It's called Guide Gear, and I think it's at Cabela's or someplace like that. But it was a nice, like, plush, it had a nice fleece lining, and the only problem with it was one of the snaps on the pockets was missing, but otherwise it was clean. And I was like, you know what, they're not much brand new, so I am just gonna list it like for $20, and I think I sent out a $15 offer, or they offered me 15, and I was like, yes, please, just take it. But it was worth it. It took me just a couple minutes to list it, and it was better than redonating it. So I didn't see the flaw with the snap until I got home. And in this case, I am positive it's the pattern that got someone's attention right away. And, it's a great work vest. That's what I would use it for. And then Ariat. I do okay with Ariat shirts like this, button-down shirts. They're okay. They're better when they're new with tags, obviously, just like most things. So I took a $22 offer for this one. And this is another item I only listed on Poshmark. The comps weren't that great, so I was like, you know what, I'll just throw $15 on this and see if somebody will just take it. I think I paid $1 or $2 at the thrift store, and it was reversible. It was by Sundance, but then comps weren't super high on that, but it sold, I think, pretty much the same day I listed it, or the next day, so that was pretty good. Let's move over to Ruby Lane. We've got this sugar bowl with lid in the shape of a strawberry. But what was cool about it is that it had its original tag. Here's a better picture of it, if it'll load. Let's see, there you go. So it was Metlocks, the Poppy Trail line. And yeah, it didn't have any damage or anything like that. And it was just a little sugar bowl shaped like a strawberry. So that sold for $20. And then I sold a pair of earrings for $16. They were just kind of a Aurora Borealis, coated beaded cluster type clip earrings. And sometimes we can use the word, if something's like clustered and beaded like that, like especially on a bracelet, they call it a cha-cha bracelet. So they were kind of cool. So those sold for $16. Now switching over to Etsy. This is my husband's revived and relaunched Etsy shop. And he's been doing pretty good with it. So last week he was just kind of, and the week before was just kind of getting things rolling, getting things going, but he's been pretty consistent with it. So these 4 mugs, actually, these match our dinner plates that we use daily. And we just never had gotten into using the mugs. And so they've just been sitting in a box. So he went ahead and listed them. The brand is Laufer, which is a good brand. If you saw my Flatware video, it's a good brand for Flatware. And then Laufer, so these are Laufer Japan. And Laufer mugs can actually sell pretty well. So he sold this set of 4 for $60. But then the buyer messaged him and asked about these 2 Laufer mugs that we had picked up someplace else that were in a different pattern. And he asked how shipping, like if we could combine. So we got it all figured out that if he was okay with like FedEx or UPS, that we could just sell him these at no additional cost to what he had originally paid for the 4. and we just boxed up all 6. He was happy with that. Boxed up all 6, and so he paid another $32 to get these 2 mugs. So Laufer is definitely a nice little, good like stoneware kind of mug to keep an eye out for. We've sold several different kinds of Laufer mugs and have always done pretty well with them. Or something else he sold in his shop. It's funny, this had been on eBay for like a year. No interest, and so we moved it over to Etsy, and it sold in a few days for $25. Nothing super special. I don't even remember why we picked up the tape recorder. It's possible we were getting it to test cassettes or something like that, but anyway, we just decided to sell it, and it's gone. And then we're moving over to the Flatware shop. So gold colored flatware, I wouldn't say don't ever buy it. I don't get super excited when I see it. A lot of times gold colored flatware has wear to it. You can really see where the gold, it's super obvious when the gold plating is worn off. So, but I just had these 4 spoons from some lot or something I picked up, so I just decided to throw them on there for $10, and somebody bought them. They can be popular for food photography and things like that, or people just want some kind of little novelty thing that they're doing. And so yeah, I wouldn't say don't pick up gold colored flatware, but if it's in really good shape and you don't pay a lot for it, then it's probably worth listing. And then this is definitely a good pattern to keep in mind for Oneida. The pattern is called Nordic Crown, and I had the pieces I had kind of mixed up or separated into several different listings, and this is the last of this pattern in my shop, so I sold all of it. 3 or 4 listings, probably $24 to $30 a piece, and so definitely did well with that. So Nordic Crown is the pattern name, and they're by Oneida, but they're marked Oneida Craft on the back. And then this is kind of a common Oneida pattern. It's called Gala, or it's also called Impulse. And the condition on these weren't super great, but I picked them up pretty cheaply, and I ended up putting, just listing them for $20 based on condition. They were definitely just going to be fitting into somebody's everyday set, and so I was happy to just kind of move them along for $20. And last one, oops, did I do that? I sure did. So what we're going to do is I want to show it to you, so we're going to go, okay, come on, a slow internet right now. Here we go. Okay, this is the one. So I had spent some time listing some utensils as well in the shop. So there you can get kind of an up-close view of the handle and how atomic looking it was. Oh, seriously slow today. Anyway, it was just a meat fork, like a turning fork, they call it. And it actually ended up, it's by Mode Danish, and which is a brand, or it's what, certain knives, and a lot of times they're teak handled, I think. I'm getting it mixed up with something else. But anyway, they have a set that has this, amazing, mid-century pattern on it. I'm trying to get you a picture of the whole thing, and I seriously do not know what's happening with my internet. So what I will do, oh, here we go. Okay, so that's the whole thing. I was about to say that I'll just take a picture and add it to the video, but that's what it looks like, and it sold pretty quickly for $14 plus shipping. So anyway, that was my week of sales. This week it kind of seems to be a little bit slower. You know, sometimes when I have a really good week or a really good sale, and you saw my really, really good sale of the Hawaiian shirts that was in that video, that happened in this current week. So sometimes when I have a really high dollar sale, it just feels like eBay slows down like right after that. So anyway, we're just trying to keep things going. We also spent some time at the beginning of this week just culling old, dead inventory and just ending things and everything like that. So our number of listings in our eBay shop kind of dropped pretty drastically. And so we're just kind of working on building that up with some fresh inventory. So anyway, we should have our what sold back on its regular day by next week, which would be Tuesday. And my next video, besides the what sold that I'm planning on doing, is we're going to talk about Ruby Lane again. So we're going to talk about, I did a couple videos on selling on Ruby Lane and why it's my preferred vintage site for my general vintage, besides the stuff my husband steals from me and puts in his Etsy shop. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about Ruby Lane and some of the features that are in Ruby Lane that can help you to maybe possibly get some more sales. So anyway, stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching and for watching every video that comes out. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys soon and have a great week.